Cool. Saying hi to everybody. How are y'all doing? I don't get to see the chat on Zoom, do I? Let's see if I can open this up. I got it. Cool. Hey, everybody, we're just giving a couple minutes before we start. Thanks for joining us. Hmm. Cool. Thanks, Andy. Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing? I'm glad you guys could make it out today. So today's going to be, the title of today's workshop is called Innovation at GeoTab. So we're glad to have you here. So if you have any comments, questions, please put them in the chat, or Jordana here, she's going to be helping me out. Field anything you guys ask, and there will be opportunity at the end to unmute and have a conversation if you guys have any questions. So remember, if you got big questions that need pressing responses, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you want to save your bigger questions for the end, please go for that. So just as a question for everyone here, does anybody really know what telematics is, or even what GeoTab does? Anybody have any experience with it? And if you don't, I might pick on somebody to answer. Wow. So we are a global leader in IoT and connected vehicles. We are an engineering company building analytics, telematics, and IoT solutions. And what we do is we connect telematics to businesses, and we're the largest telematics company as of January 2020. However, I haven't really explained what telematics is yet. It's the basis of modern fleet and vehicle asset management, and it fuses information of things and transmission of data to monitor things such as GPS and other onboard diagnostics such as speed, idling, fuel use, low tire pressure, anything you can think of that's related to any vehicle, we track that. And in the process of that, we process billions of data points every day. And we leverage that data with a lot of machine learning tools, tips, and tricks to improve our customers' productivity, optimize their fleets through the reduction of fuel consumption, enhance driver safety, and achieve regulatory compliance. So we were established in 2000, and we've grown from a very small business to like a family business to a global leader in our solutions for fleet management and vehicle tracking. We've got more than 100 partners and a flourishing platform that developers from other companies can leverage for their own solutions. We started out with our hardware devices that we help keep drivers in over 130 countries compliant, safe, and efficient. There is a global demand for telematics, and it's been increasing. And GeoTab really is at the forefront of the telematics world. So we've got more than 2 million connected vehicles built on our single platform. And we've got partnerships in Fortune 500 companies. We've got so many things related to our platforms how are actually related to how we're managed. And we've been the award-winning technology solutions best company managed for the last 4 years and growing, and hopefully in the future. So we're the fastest growing technology firm and consistently rank among the top 10 leaders in innovation. So these are just a couple of examples of the companies that we work with. The best way to explain this really is that PepsiCo is the largest organization that we work with. So think about all the trucks from Lay's, PepsiCo, anything of their brands. They're a huge consumer and packaged goods leader, and we work directly with them. That's just one of them. We also work with Enterprise for our rental fleets. We've got BP and a lot of, I would say, smaller energy companies that we work with to help them collect the data of all the fleets that are on the road, use that information to make better decisions, and to use all that data to maybe innovate how they use their fleets. So you just saw some of our customers, which makes it easy to see that why we're ranked #1 in telematics. But the biggest reason and where we really started from was this tiny little device called the GeoTab Go device. This little guy is, if you're familiar with cars, every car after 2002 has a port called the ODB2 port. And this little device connects into that port, and it uses information like GPS, gyroscopes, accelerometers, and a modem all packed into this tiny thing, where we can collect that data and send it back to our databases. The device itself is actually expandable with third-party devices, including IOX, which are not linked to the specific engine power. They can be independently powered and provide 24/7 data if that's what's necessary. And any third-party application, any fleet camera partners that we have, anything you can think of can be connected to this Go device and leveraged by our customers to use that same data. I say this with my own experience. I've got a GeoTab Go device in my car. Every now and then I like to pull it up on our database to see where I've gone. I would say, and how I've been accelerating it, I would say that it's like Google Maps data on the 11th tier. I can tell you how fast I took a corner if I were driving in safely. There's so many third-party add-ins to our platforms that you can use in the fleet's world that GeoTab provides through that data. And things like engine RPM data, things like whether my seatbelt was connected or not, fuel levels, the oil levels, anything that you can think of car vehicle related, we were able to track, we're able to report on, or we're able to leverage to make sure that our fleets are safe, compliant, and efficient. So all the data we collect allows us to make very good educated guesses about, say, our vehicle surroundings. For example, if we see that the windshield wipers are activated on many vehicles in the same area, we can pretty accurately conclude that it's raining in that area. One of the cool ways that we are using that data is we're deploying using our accelerometer data. So we've got the ability to detect the z-axis, which is up and down, and we're able to detect whether that change was significant, was statistically significant. And through those reporting, if we have enough of those reports through the same area, we can identify actually that there's a pothole in that road, and we can work with governments and get that repaired, get that fixed. And it's just a handful of ways that we're using this data. Some of our other government platforms in our works is we've recently come out with a solution called Public Works, where if you think about anything like waste management, so it's garbage truck day for me, so I had to remember to put my garbage out today, but we have government partners using our Go devices that manage all of this waste management, or that manage the fleets that are doing waste management. Similarly to, say, I would say road clearing in the winter times. In Canada, it's a huge thing. And it's every time a winter storm happens, the roads are undrivable. It's unsafe. And if you ever get stuck behind some of these snowplows, it might be frustrating. But knowing that where it's necessary to plow first and next, and where it's necessary to plow in the future, and making sure that certain levels of service have been reached, our Canadian public works platform partners are using the Go device to make sure that your community is safer. So it is a unique platform that we work on. It's a platform intended to make sure that you're productive, efficient, safe, and compliant. So what really, those are big buzzwords. They don't really encapture how we tackle each section of that. So one of our first things is all of our data has to be reliable, scalable, and secure. So we make sure that when someone needs access to their data, it comes to them quickly. It's not taking them time to see any specific report, and it's seamless. So if they want to have their data on their local platform, on our cloud hosted solution, if they even want to get their hands dirty and actually have access to that data, we have our software development kit, and we're able to make HTTP requests directly to our servers to serve them that data however else they want to use it. And because we're using such an expandable platform, any integration that you might want to do is a possibility to do with our help. We're happy to integrate to whatever other camera platform, any ideas you got, our customers have. We're open to that, and we're growing. Businesses can unlock more value from their solution by growing through our ecosystem, and having that platform open makes sure that any third-party applications we're not neglecting, we're taking seriously, and we're building upon. So we've got a huge dev stack. We depending on the platform or what specific part of our product we're working on, we use anything like C# or .NET Core, Python, JavaScript, TypeScript, Swift, even Kotlin for our Android stuff. And remember, it depends on where at GeoTab. We're such a big company. I myself use a lot of databasing. We use Postgres, MySQL, and SQL Server. And whenever I need to query against that table, that's what I usually use against. For most of our UI, it's on the Angular stack, and React a bit as well. And for packages, for like people that want access to our data lakes, we leverage Google Cloud. Our Google Cloud platform is our most significant. And then obviously we manage containers through Docker and Kubernetes as well. And Amazon Web Services is something that we're growing on right now. It's one of our next projects that we're tackling. So if you're a developer looking at where you could apply yourself at GeoTab, we have a huge need for some of these expertises in these languages. Big data is such a big thing right now. Everyone wants to be part of big data, but GeoTab has been doing big data for the last 21 years. We so far have 2.2 million connected vehicles globally, with 50 billion data points collected daily. And that rich data includes worldwide GPS traffic, accelerometer, engine data, weather, driver behavior. And that data's extrapolation, we're excited to be introducing our Ignition platform for this challenge. So this Ignition platform, we encourage you guys to play around with the data sets that we have for open public use, which has location analysis, urban analytics, and you could use the same information to come up with your own solution. And we'd be interested in hearing about what you guys come up with by finding insights and pain points through people or through our customers. So a few interesting data and AI applications that we've recently or more recently made up or have developed are predictive maintenance. So through a lot of, say, engine data, you can predict when that engine might fail. So say as a car guy, if my engine's knocking, like it makes the tuk 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 tuk, I know there's something wrong with it. It might be the timing belt, it might be the pistons. But using just our Go device and what it can read, and our AI applications for leveraging AI to analyze all these data points, we can pick out which vehicles are more likely to fail based off of some of this data. And we can report it to our customers and our fleets, so that instead of it going on an 8-hour long haul road trip, it gets to a mechanic that way that they're able to use that as soon as possible and be as efficient as they can be. We've got intelligent transportation systems, anything from dangerous driving areas to corridor analysis. If you think about Toronto in itself, that's where I'm from. If you know that the DVP, when it meets the Gardiner, those two are big highways. When they intersect, that is going to be a huge stop. And you don't, as a long haul driver, even if you use Google Maps, it's not able to predict it well. But using GeoTab's Go device, we're able to pinpoint exactly where these high congestion areas are going to be so that they can avoid it entirely, or if they can plan around it. We can even make vehicle recommendations. So say a new fleet has decided that they want to transition into using mostly EVs or electric vehicles or even hybrids. Sometimes you need to make an assessment about whether that's feasible. EVs have limitations like how far they can go, what weather conditions that they are optimal to use in. But when we have thousands, hundreds of thousands of EV devices that we can pull that data from, and they're being used internationally through all these different, I guess, parameters. And we're able to recommend new customers that are considering EV through our insights of our existing EV customers about, hey, the say X model car would be the best use for your fleet right now, or this other version of that same car. And finally, just an interesting example would be our economic understanding. We can model activity that's popular in the industry to try to inform policy. So right now, one big thing that is changing the telematics industry is that the electric vehicles are on the rise. Adoption rates are on the rise as well. One thing that's missing in electric vehicles right now is a standardization in the connection hardware. So the ODB2 port that I mentioned earlier, that's been a standard that's regulated worldwide, that every car after 2002 needs that port. But that does not yet apply to electric vehicles yet. And every electric vehicle manufacturer is using their own proprietary connector. And GeoTab is actually leading OEM partnerships, which are original like the manufacturers. We're partnering with manufacturers to try to get everybody to agree with what that standard should be. And when that standard is developed and made into policies, GeoTab will have been on the forefront of working with these companies. This is an example of what I used earlier, the hazardous driving spot regions in Toronto. Some of us may know intuitively, having driven around Toronto or even every major city, but being able to see exactly when, where, how these places are affected, we're able to discover key infrastructure challenges and deploy automated solutions such as congestion management, parking in poor road conditions. This data specifically is based off of harsh braking and accident level events. And each month, a set of dangerous driving areas can be produced to encapsulate a 1-year rolling average of which are the worst neighborhoods or worst streets, worst intersections to drive in Toronto. Another example, data from our telematics devices provide useful and sometimes unexpected, like completely out of the blue information in times of crisis and natural disaster. Here, what we're looking at is a specific earthquake in Mexico where the Go devices attached to our fleets in this area was able to monitor the effect of the forces even when they were parked. There was sufficient G-force applied to the vehicle that triggered the Go device's accelerometer. And we were able to use the reported data to measure the strength and the correlation of that earthquake and locate it very hyperlocally to where it originated. An analysis of this type of data on a macro scale really could provide a tool for smart cities to better understand disaster ramifications and intelligently deploy resources for aid. As part of our involvement in TOHacks, we have submitted in the past a specific GeoTab challenge where we are encouraging students to use GeoTab's telematics datasets in the most innovative way possible. The platform we use is Ignition, and it is free to sign up and start using the data at ignition.geotab.com. A data repository is curated by our team of data scientists, and engineers who have created a series of very real-time and historical data sets categorized under weather, urban infrastructure, and location analytics. Sorry. So if you want to get access to this information, so reach ignition at geotab.com, ignition.geotab.com, sorry. And these are just some examples of what we're looking at. Like we talked about hazardous driving areas, parking is a huge issue in major cities, areas of idling, cell coverage, dark spots. I wish I had this tool when I was looking to rent or buy a house because my bedroom gets terrible service, and this would have been able to tell me. Impediments along the road that are not just local traffic wise. So say an impediment could also be that you're going in a more rural area, and even though the road is clear, it's gravel. Gravel roads aren't reported by other software platforms, and we're able to detect that based off of our GeoTab platform or GeoTab device. We can detect the weather, temperature, barometric pressure, like the precipitation. And if you consider the fleet implications, so say you're a long haul truck driver. Long haul truck driver means it's someone that travels between countries or between states for any delivery. You have an X amount of fuel to get to there sometimes, and you also have to manage, you only have X amount of driving time. So to be in compliance with, say, the United States laws, you're only allowed to drive 8 hours of any 14-hour working day. Say you're near the end of your driving time, but your truck is about to run out of gas. We've had drivers that are our customers' drivers that have ran out of driving time before they could reach a gas station, especially in rural areas. So one of our solutions that we're developing are the ability to time your refueling stops with your driving so that you're compliant with your government's laws. So they don't drive over their allowed time. So why become a geotabber in general? We've got lots of autonomy. When I say that I'm able to decide what I do in my work with obviously the guidance of my managers and my team, what I'm going to be doing. Our team lead, like my team lead, my manager will give me a goal. I have to do this, and they'll give us directions, but I'm given creativity to come up with the solutions. For example, we have a feedback tracking process within one of our mobile applications. So we have a mobile application that drivers use, and that feedback that drivers provide based off of our product had not yet been automated well and was not being leveraged to improve our application. So sometimes if there'll be a little feedback box that says, oh, I didn't like the way that this button looked, or this button doesn't work, or anything that goes wrong, it would become a support ticket, but that support ticket would take a long time to become a feature. So what I did was my manager said, hey, we got to fix this. We have to shorten that loop. And I was able to get that data, automate how it was processed through some natural language processing tools and machine learning, use that report that's generated on a monthly, weekly, whatever basis, whatever we decide, whatever they needed actually, and use that report to prioritize our service tickets. So say 100 people complained about one thing, then we know that that's a problem that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, versus one person that's complaining about the same thing, but it's a very corner case that doesn't need to be addressed right away. At GeoTab, especially within my team, especially between teams, I'm encouraged to voice my opinion. If I see something that goes wrong, or if I see that something that's not optimized, or something that's just done wrong, like outright that should not be done the way it is, my boss, my coworkers, Jordana has heard me complain that we need to do it this way instead, and they want us to speak up. They really treat us with the respect of a coworker, and we're able to voice any of our opinions. Then you'll also be involved with addressing some of those concerns and suggestions, because having the ability to report something and then track how it's being fixed, that was really empowering to me, because at previous workplaces, if I reported something wrong, maybe it just went into the ether, it just disappeared, but I could really see anything that I report on getting fixed as it needs to be. And then finally, it's always something new and challenging. One day, so my role as a product coordinator intern, my day is really split into three big sections. I spend part of my day of in discovery mode, which sort of means that I look for problems, I look for places that there could be problems, and I reach out to customers, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders about figuring out what's wrong with what we do and figuring out what hurts them, what's making them feel uncomfortable or not just efficient. And then the next part of the day, maybe not the same day, maybe it'll be split over a week, but the next part of the day will be talking to some of these same customers, internal and external stakeholders, so say our business partners within GeoTab, and creating solutions, proposing some minimum solution that would fix their problem. So say they didn't like the way a button looked, or the button was too big or too small. That's a very small, very, very tiny example, but it's a good one because I dealt with that earlier today. The button wasn't big enough, and a customer complained it to me. I got to analyze and pitch it to my coworkers, say this doesn't work, we need to change it like this. And then after we've created a solution, say in development, so I had to, through part of my day, I redeveloped it, readjusted the sizing, made sure that everything worked, make sure it passed all the test cases, and I really got to get my hands dirty with some front end work. And that's just one day or one week. I could be working anywhere from front end to back end or full stack development, depending on what project I'm working on. So everything's new, and I've gotten to grow so steadily throughout my time here at GeoTab. And one thing's for sure, I'm always doing something new. I'd never thought that I would learn so much about telematics before I started, but it's such an in-depth, there's so much to this space that like I'm learning something new every day. So it's going to affect who we're looking for. We're looking for someone for co-op internships and summer students, preferably in their 2 final years of study. We're also looking for new graduates. That our new graduate program is currently in development for a formalized program, but we do have new graduate positions. We're generally looking for someone with engineering or computer science and or commerce, which isn't to say that people without those experiences can't apply. There's a huge need in other parts of our organization for people with, say, HR, communication skills, passion for technology and innovation in general. But really, we want people that are motivated to work independently and comfortable working in a very fast-paced environment. And we are actively recruiting for winter and summer 2022. And I'd like to pass it on to Jordana for some more information about this.
Awesome. Thank you, Faizan, for just introducing that in a really great way. So yeah, we are actively recruiting coming up for the winter and summer 2022. The process is very interactive. Definitely check your respective school job board sites for more information. But as Faizan was talking about earlier, there's a ton of really great benefits working here at GeoTab. We have a really fantastic company culture. Fingers crossed, I really do hope we have some time to go back into the office, hopefully by the time these roles come to take place. But in office, we have some really great programs. Like we have free lunch Fridays, which is always something to look forward to. We have a game room with like ping pong and foosball and different board games. One of our core key values is work hard, play hard. So not only do we, go ahead and exceed expectations, but we also like to have a ton of fun too. So if that's the company or type of place that you're thinking of working in, I definitely recommend it. And if you do have any questions, feel free to email either Faizan or I, and we'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have. But besides that, thank you so much everyone for coming today and learning more about GeoTab. And I'd like to open the floor for any questions, comments, or concerns you guys may have today.
Thanks, Jordana. I got a question for you, actually, maybe just to start it off. What's your favorite thing about working with GeoTab so far? What's your favorite thing, hands down?
I would say the fact that you're not restricted to like let's just say, I applied to be an HR and all I thought that was talent acquisition.
Mhm.
But you're able to explore like different avenues and pathways. Like I really particularly like the campus team, and just being able to explore and help out different people. And also I'm finding an interest in EVs as well. So
Mm.
being able to just reach out to people and having them be so friendly and happy to chat with me, that wasn't the case for previous places that I've worked in the past. So having that really great environment where everyone is just so welcoming is something that is really awesome to be a part of for sure. Thank you for asking that.
Awesome. So again, if anybody's got any questions about anything, what GeoTab does, how we do it, what I do, let us know in the chat, or you can unmute yourself right now and we're happy to have a conversation.
And feel free to follow us on social media at Inside GeoTab, where you get to see all the really fun things we do, especially in a virtual environment. We actually just had a Marvel trivia night, and that looked like a ton of fun.
Mhm. I mean, this for students, at least interns, there's a huge development process. GeoTab knows that students may not be 100% prepared or able to fill the needs of the company right away. So
Mhm.
we sort of nurture that growth through like internal events, learning, like live learning sessions. We recently did a student challenge, like a hackathon. That just
Mhm.
Jordana won that, by the way. uh, it's a lot, and then you're gonna my favorite thing at GeoTab actually is when I started, I was assigned a specific mentor, someone that I could go to for anything. So say I say I had a programming related question that I wasn't sure, or I was shy, or like I didn't know who to take it to. I could ask them first, and they would make sure that question was either answered by them or I was referred to someone, and they opened the door for me to talk to other people at GeoTab to get that question answered.
Yes, and I see that Andrew actually has a question. He's asking how GeoTab has supported team members throughout COVID, and that's a
Oh
fantastic
my
question.
goodness.
We've done a variety of things. One of them being is that we have paid time off for those that are getting their first and second doses of the vaccine. So it's really encouraged to just get out there, stay safe. And especially having the work from home model as well, we really want to make sure that, when we do finally go back into the office, our teammates feel safe and secure and just are okay to be there. And we also implemented some wellness days for this
Mhm.
particular year. So I believe full-time employees got 3 wellness days. And then interns, I believe, got one for every 3 months of working here. So those are a few of the ways that we've supported teammates throughout COVID. And for really anyone that has been impacted, just really talking to your managers, we've been able to come up with different ways to make sure that everyone is comfortable and able to really support and keep their families safe during this trying and hard time.
Mhm.
So thank you for asking that, Andrew. That was a really good question.
Cool. I personally liked the way GeoTab handled remote work. We're like,
Mhm.
while I do miss being in the office and I would really like to see everyone in person, I think that um, the option of remote from GeoTab at least has been seamless, where I'm able to
Mhm.
schedule meetings, get connected with everybody pretty easily, and everyone's, while we don't build the same in-person relationship, we've made really strong online like connections, and I'm glad that they handle that well.
Definitely. I agree with that so much.
So does anyone else have any questions? If not, I'm going to stop the recording right now. Thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah, it actually looks like Andy has a question. He asked us to elaborate more on the mentorship side that Faizan mentioned. I'd love to give you the floor, Faizan, just to answer that, and I'd be happy to add on for you.
Sure. So when I was onboarded, I was connected with someone within my general team. So I'm under the development team with product management. And this person, his name's Brent, fantastic guy. He would schedule regular meetings with me, not just like touch-ins, like full hour-long conversations about the work I was doing right now, the goals I had with the work that I was doing, things that I needed to learn to effectively complete that work, and the things that I wanted to do that weren't being addressed in my work, but I would want to do and learn about in the future. So when I come from a computer science background, I go to Ryerson, went to Ryerson for computer science, and I had a strong computer science background, but I didn't have as strong of a communications and I would say business development mindset yet. And for my role, that was something that was quite key, and they knew that that's what I'd be lacking in that place. However, they were able to set me up with our internal, like our customers that we had very good relationships with. They let me, Brent organized interviews with them that I could lead so that I could be more comfortable communicating with customer stakeholders, and I could develop those communication skills and also those relationships within the industry. And that's just one aspect of it. The whole development aspect of it is that they we're very agile in at GeoTab, and I know that some companies sort of say that, but when I say that GeoTab really follows the Scrum process, like we have daily stand-ups, we have sprint planning, we execute on our sprints, and we are very quite strict with what we choose to work on within those sprints. I wasn't familiar with that process until I came to GeoTab, and I learned it because my mentor was like, hey, we're going to do this. This is why we do it. This is how we do it. And this is what the expectations are. And then having that really clearly outlined and someone to, as the first point of contact for any questions for that, was invaluable to me.
That's a really great answer. So for me, I don't have a formal mentor, but my manager has been super helpful to me for the past almost 4 months that I've been here at GeoTab. In the first few weeks, we sort of talked about like what my goals were and what I wanted to achieve by the time this by the time this internship was over. And she's really just been important to me in like helping me reach those goals slowly but surely. I feel like I make goals that are like way over my head. So she kind of helps me be more realistic, but also helps me exceed those expectations as well. So there's a lot of great opportunities here at GeoTab. Even if you don't have a mentor, there's always going to be someone that, that can help you, and that's someone that you can rely on. So I definitely recommend it.
Thanks, Jordana. So if you haven't yet, you can follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can find videos that we've posted on YouTube. If you want to learn more, again, like just to reiterate, Jordana and I are accessible. We'll reply to stuff if you have any questions. And I look forward to speaking to some of you if you guys choose to.
Yeah, thank you for all the really great questions and for coming today. We appreciate it.